tarp, you can and get out of the sun if you want to.
Okay, the whole idea of Gluckhaus is it's a simple
Jerry.
dice gambling
Okay.
game. Okay. This board represents a typical household, noble household of the period. Okay, so you have images that occur in the thing. So here's the gambler with his dice. Here's the crossed spears for the boar hunt, the wedding, things like that. All right. So you'll notice that every one of these has a number in them. So the way we play the game is we take turns. We roll the die. We find the corresponding space. So I look for the 10. There's no coin there, I place a coin there.
Okay.
Now I pass the dice. If when I had rolled that, there was a coin there, I pick that coin up and it's now mine.
Okay.
Either way, one roll of the dice, I pass them. Now, if that's all there was to the game, it's interesting, but not very complete. So, a few of these have special rules. The 12 is the lucky pig, because if you've got meat, you're lucky. So, if you roll the 12,
You drink beer.
you can shush. You can collect everything on the board except for the 7. Okay. If you roll the 7 is the wedding.
I cried.
You always take a gift to a wedding. So whether there's a coin there or not, you will add a coin to it.
Okay.
Okay. 12 is the Koenig, and the Koenig can tax everything. So if you roll the 12, you collect everything on the board. Now, if you know anything about dice odds, 7 is the most common roll on 2 6-sided dice. 2 and 12 are the rarest rolls. So the general gist of the game is that we're going to take turns. We're going to be swapping a piece out here and there as we go back and forth. But this 7 is going to raise and get bigger. And what you really want to do is get a nice big stack there, roll the 12, and win the jackpot. Now, you will also know there is no 4. If you roll a 4, you pay your coin directly to the owner of the board because the house always gets its cut. Okay? All right. You want to join in just to give us another hand
And
here?
the bones for this one are a different
No,
game?
that's a different game.
Okay.
So here, we'll just give you a few so that you can join in with us. All right. So I'll go ahead and start. And I rolled a 2, which, great, I get to collect the board. I got nothing. All right, so next player. 9. So he looks for the 9, there's nothing on it, and he places. Now he passes the dice to you. 6. Okay.
The gambler.
11. So as you can see, initially feeding the board is kind of filling it up, but that's fine. Oh, 7. So he goes on there, all right. So again, because the wedding always collects. Huh, look at that.
Well, it is the most common number you
Yeah.
can roll.
Yes. You were saying? All right. 4.
The board.
You pay directly to the owner of the game. Okay. See, the house always gets that cut.
Hey, Connie owns the board.
Yeah, she's not here right
Cheater.
now. 3.
I'm right here. You better give that over to me.
Where's my thing? Oh, there's the 3. Okay. There you go.
Okay, so each one was the charge that you needed. So
10. Wow, we just keep hitting the same spot, or hitting different spots here.
So you just poured it down.
6. Ah, there's a coin. You get to take that. Yeah, you're richer than you were a second ago.
Half my month's pay.
8. Okay, I gotta put that down. All right. You out?
No, I just got my losses.
The point is, this is. Oh, there's so much for your losses, right? This is the whole idea of the game. It doesn't seem like much, but yet if you sit here and play this, especially with real money, this gets really intense.
Or even just the stamp coins that we have that look like more
Yes,
real money.
yes. And the beauty of this game is it doesn't end.
Yeah, you can keep going.
Yeah, he ran out of money. Okay,
He
he's
left.
just not included in the dice roll, right? Oh, somebody else just got off guard duty with all fresh money. Great, just include him in the dice roll. The game keeps going. Now, the one rule about the game is if the game has to shut down, so the sergeant comes around and yells at us and says, "What are you doing? You're supposed to be doing this." Anything that's on the board belongs to the board.
Ah.
So if the game is halted right this minute, I just roll up the board and take it, and oh look, the house made out really well
Real
today.
winner, so the real winner is whoever has the board. So then do you,
Yeah, pretty much the house is the real
so
winner.
then do people have competing boards? Am I going to?
Sometimes they certainly can have multiple games going on. Being the board winner or owner is beneficial, but this kind of fanciness is pretty expensive. So
Are we
part
gonna
of-
have problems? I have a board, you have a board. All of a sudden, your board comes up in the morning full of holes.
Well, that could happen, but the reality is, remember, we got an army of 80,000 people here. How many games can be going at once and nobody even realize it, right? So that kind of stuff could happen, but probably doesn't happen a whole lot just because of the sheer numbers. So yeah, this was a very, very popular game. This was so popular that once the Landsknecht went home with it, they took it with them and would teach their families. And they'd penny ante or play for peanuts or whatever. They'd play with the kids and everything. And it became a very popular family game all the way up to the 1930s in Germany. This was like Monopoly. Everybody played this. And then in the
But unlike Monopoly, they played it right. They didn't mess the rules up.
well, there's that. But in the there's a lot of gnats right here. In the 1930s, there was a German politician who was running on a family-friendly platform, and he spoke out against this because it's gambling, and you don't gamble with the family, right? And he ended up winning the election. So because of that, it fell out of favor. So if you talk to a German today, they've probably never heard of this. But literally up until the 1930s, this was, everybody knew this. If you didn't have a game of it, you've at least played it at some point in your life. And the politician, like most politicians, they come and go. You probably aren't familiar with a gentleman by the name of Adolf Hitler. So there's your lesson out of it, but you now have also learned how to play a new game.
Awesome.
And what's that called again?
It's called Glückhaus, House
Glückhaus.
of Fortune,
House-
or House of
But the
Luck.
thing is, that would be like $100,000 sitting on there, and all I got to do is roll 12, and it's mine.
Yep, and that's the hard part, is rolling the 12. And you ain't going to cheat because we're all sitting here armed. So you're going to roll the dice right out there where everyone can see them. And that is definitely going to add to the element of it. Now, I've had people tell me, oh yeah, that's kind of interesting, but I don't think that would be all that cool. We were at an event once, and it was very quiet, and there was no patrons or anyone. And so we started playing a game with plastic coins. We're playing along, and we're playing for like an hour or something and going, and there's occasional win or whatever, but nobody hit the 12 for some time. Suddenly somebody sits down and starts counting because there's a huge stack.
We've actually
realized-
moved everything off the
Yeah,
seven
we'd actually
because
moved, the sack was so big, we'd moved it off. Somebody sits there and counts it all out. There's 6 months pay there. As soon as that was announced, you thought we were playing for real money. All of a sudden, it got dead serious. Before, we were just laughing and joking, friends sitting around you. All of a sudden, every die roll, everybody's watching it. It's like, and then finally, when someone did roll the 12, you could have heard that scream from a mile away. Everybody's like, ah! And it was for stupid plastic coins, so I can't imagine what it would be like with real money.
Particularly if they're all drunk.
By the time we had it was over a year's worth.
Yeah, by the time somebody finally hit 12, it was over a year's worth of pay.
And that would be like everything your father made farming since he was 12 years old.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly.
The
So,
question is did they pay with actual whole coins when they played?
yeah, we don't know that for a fact. I'm sure
Probably
they
depended
probably
on
use
how-
smaller
probably depended on the
denominations, but the
game.
point
Can
is
get
still,
change.
yeah, the point is
They
though,
melted down
still,
the coins most of the time anyway.
Yeah.
They turned them into chain links and
So
stuff
anyways,
like that.
you've had a chance
Well,
to learn a new game. So,
Awesome.
what do you think of that?
It's a great starting point. Now I'd like to learn everything else.
Okay. Well, this one I won't teach you, but I will tell you.
Okay.
You
This,
can Google that one.
Yeah, this is backgammon.
Okay. I've
The
heard
Germans
of
called it poof.
Poof. Okay.
But the rules between German poof and American backgammon, there's only one thing that's different. With America, when it came to America, they added the doubling die. Otherwise, the basic rules of how to play the game are exactly the same for 500 years ago. So this is backgammon. Now, this is called knucklebones. Knucklebones,
From what?
these are sheep knuckles. Now, these are actually resin, but these are sheep knuckles. They're molded off of them, so this is exactly what they look like. Now, the ancients, specifically like the Romans, would use these as dice because they have 4 distinct sides that they can come in to rest on. And some of the sides are harder to get it to land on than others. Oh, thank you. I was going to ask for that.
This is yours too.
Okay. So that's what the Romans do. They use it with dice. We have dice, so we don't need those. So instead, the game of Knucklebones has become a predecessor to Jacks.
Oh, okay.
Right? It is a dexterity game. This is literally the video game of the 1500s. The whole idea here is in the first wave of it, I take one knucklebone, I hold it in the palm of my hand, I throw it in the air, and I have to catch it on the back of my hand. I then throw that up and catch it in the palm of my hand. So that's the first step. Then I do it with 2, then 3, then 4, then 5. So once I can throw 5 from my palm into the air, catch all 5 on the back of my hand, throw it in the air, and again catch all 5 in the palm, I've just completed wave 1. There are 20 waves to this game, and each wave is a completely different dexterity skill set. And if you mess up at any point, you start way back at the beginning all over again. You have to do it all in one setting. All right, so that's Knucklebones. I honestly don't even remember the other waves because I've never gotten past the first wave. Okay, I think the most I've gotten is 3.
I've caught 5 on the back of my hand, but couldn't catch them on the front. So I've completed the 4.
So, but that's how you play Knucklebones. Hello there. How are you today, sir?
Okay, how you doing?
Now, the ladies can tell you some of the stuff that's going on over there much better than we can.